They made those BX units tough. Blaster.
No.
After the Clone Wars, the Confederacy of Independent Systems was dissolved and their entire droid army was shut down, leaving hundreds of thousands of battle droids as spare parts, to be sold across the galaxy or even traded on the black market. A commander droid who had served during the Clone Wars was among those that had been repurposed with a new private owner. A BX series commander droid designated JX394ND-5777 was acquired by gang leader Slero after the rise of the Empire. This thug in particular was filled with jealousy by his family's success, so he used a commander droid as a hitman and sent them to kill his entire family. The commander droid was successful in finding most of his siblings and found both his parents, then killed them. Slero's brother, however, Jaylen, was able to survive the attack and capture the droid. Figuring out his brother had sent the droid to destroy his and his family's lives, Jaylen vowed to take revenge upon his brother. Jaylen then took the commander droid for himself and decided to use it as a weapon against his enemies, fitting the droid with a restraining bolt and nicknaming him ND-5, as it was much more palatable for conversation. Jaylen and ND-5 became partners in crime, slowly building a reputation to be able to take his revenge. In time, he earned a good enough rapport as a scoundrel to earn a special invitation to the auction that would be selling Han Solo's frozen body. Apparently, Crimson Dawn leader Kira had stolen the smuggler Han Solo from Boba Fett and sold him to the highest bidder, who I guess was Jabba in the end. Around this time, Jaylen had recognized his brother Slero as the head of a new crime syndicate known as Zerek Besh. Jaylen knew for sure that ruining him was the only thing he wanted to do. While digging around for more information on Slero and his new gang of thugs, Jaylen and ND-5 learned that a rookie thief was able to get into Slero's vault and escape, without help or the means of knowing the layout. This piqued his interest, as this is exactly what he intended on doing himself to ruin Slero, steal his fortune. The thief he heard of was not able to steal anything, but the fact she got in and out without being caught was valuable enough. So they tracked down the thief, who was named Kay Vess, and made the deal of a lifetime with them.
Where'd you get this?
It's what I do. Secrets, contacts, credits. I'm the one who brings them all together.
Varric. This really is Slero's mansion, isn't it?
Mm-hmm. And the schematics for a safe filled with 157 million credits worth of unmarked Beskar ingots. And I can get you inside.
Jaylen intended on using Kay to build a crew without building any heat on himself or drawing the eyes of the Empire. The benefit for her would be the ability to buy out her own death mark and essentially live a free life. Through Kay Vess, he was able to build an entire crew of skilled thieves and gunslingers. Jaylen directed her to every potential crew member, although not all of them worked out, and the thief even brought in one of her old friends, a Rhodian slicer named Gadik. Collectively, they became a crew of 7: ND-5, Jaylen Vrax, Gadik, Ankh, Asara, Kay, and lastly, Rico. 8 members total if we're including Nyx. Rico is actually the mother of Kay Vess. At first, she refused to work with her mother, but in time they managed to cooperate for the sake of the mission against Slero. As far as the crew knew, Jaylen was just after the unmarked Beskar worth 157 million credits in the vault. No one else knew the blood connection they had. This was kept quiet. Rico and Kay's past is pretty much the mother didn't want her child to be caught up in a dangerous life, so she left her alone as a child to fend for herself, rather than drag her into a life of crime. As it turned out, she still turned to a life of crime. While Kay was recruiting for the mission, Jaylen put her under watch, babysitting if you will. If she was to deviate from the task, then the commando droid ND-5 was programmed to shoot her. So participating in the job had benefits, but refusing had consequences. Jaylen was determined to get his own way. While traveling together, ND-5 and Kay form a bond and become reliant on each other, essentially friends. The restraining bolt on his chest did not allow ND-5 to betray Jaylen. He was forced to carry out every order. The thief attempted to use this as a way to convince ND-5 that Jaylen did not have his best interests at heart. She claimed that removing the bolt meant he could be free of orders, and after a lifetime of fighting, especially during the horrific Clone Wars, perhaps it was time for the droid to earn its freedom. Regardless, ND-5 could not betray Jaylen and always reaffirmed his loyalty. When the time was right, the crew made the assault on Sleera for his credentials to the vault. They tried to do this quietly so he wouldn't know what had happened. However, while Kay searched for what she needed, she accidentally discovers that Sleera is working with the Empire and the gang Zerek Besh is just a front.
Well, this is a surprise. The Emperor has my report. Zerek Besh Syndicate has infiltrated the underworld into the farthest reaches of the galaxy. We are on the verge of uncovering the rebel network. This is an unqualified success for the ISB.
Zerek Besh has not found a single member of the Rebel Alliance.
That's nonsense.
Without rebels, Zerek Besh is a failure. You, Director Barsha, are a failure.
Failure? The ISB has created the most groundbreaking intelligence network the Empire has seen, and accomplished more in weeks than the entire Imperial Army. An army whose mindless show of force allowed a rebel fleet to escape from Hoth. It is the ISB that will win this war. I'm so close, Lord Vader.
Then I suggest you find some rebels, Director. The Emperor is waiting.
Kay reveals to the crew that Sleera is actually a member of the ISB, Imperial Security Bureau, with the rank of Director. When Jaylen learns of this, he's able to put the final pieces of his revenge together. Behind everyone's back, he contacts Darth Vader and arranges to take over Zerek Besh in return for information on the rebels and their dealings, which he can obtain through the crew member Asara. In the meantime, the entire crew decided to still go after Sleera's vault and just slice, blast and explode their way in and out. When they make it to the vault, Sleera appears to confront the team. However, his mercenary betrays him and helps the crew escape with the goods from the vault. With a successful mission and job well done, the story delivers a well-timed betrayal in the form of Jaylen. Turns out the loot they stole was just information on Imperials and rebels, with some blackmail dirt mixed in. Sleera had been holding out on the Empire and keeping secrets. Jaylen was about to use this as a way to enact his plan. He betrays the crew and captures Asara for the Empire, taking all the valuable data they had too. Jaylen takes his treasure to the Empire and reaps the reward.
You remember ND-5?
Don't remember that scar on his chest.
Who you sent to hunt down and kill every last Barsha.
You always did.
He had successfully usurped his brother's empire from under his feet, which was justice served. We find out in the end that Sleera had lied about his family and stated they conspired against the Empire. His former family could have been very wealthy and respected, but he destroyed it all for his own ambitions, and now Jaylen and ND-5 complete their ultimate mission. As it turns out, Kay-Vess had infiltrated the ship Jaylen was on in an attempt to rescue Asara and ND-5, but Jaylen orders ND-5 to kill her instead, so she ends up being chased around the ship like a horror movie. In the end, she manages to remove his restraining bolt, where he resets and decides to join Kay and her crew.
Blaster.
No.
After Jaylen's death, the crew leave, and ND-5 finally gets his freedom.
So, where do we go next?
Anywhere we want, ND.